Alright, welcome back to part 3. Gotta figure out how to get this window. Oh, there we go. Oh man, I'm feeling sick today. Just woke up. Figured I'd try to finish casting this. There's my Tech 2 chain gun bots. Putting in work. Oh, there's my gunship. That thing is awesome. Tech 3 gunship. Has its own shield and hovers. And my Navy ships are doing work here. Putting in good anti-air and anti-ground. Got my engineers on patrol up here. Queuing them up to reclaim some of those wrecks on the battlefield, because I'm low on metal right now. You can see in the top left. Man, I really hope I'm not going to be sick again. I've been washing dishes at work, and other employees there are saying that it's pretty common to get sick for whatever reason. Washing dishes there, I don't know what the deal is. Might try to lay down after this and try to get better before it gets worse, you know. I read online or heard somewhere that if you do everything possible to get better, like drinking tea and fluids and taking aspirin and eating, soup, whatever is good for a cold, and resting and all that, compared to just going to work every day, that you can get better from a cold in just 1 or 2 days compared to a week, depending on how much rest you take and how much you try to help your body get better instead of just working all the time. So I'm going to try that later today. If I can never pry myself away from my computer, which is tough. I'm building a SAM site there because the air transport keeps kicking my ass around that spot. Keeps taking out my metal extractor. There he is, that bastard. Coming back. Holy shit. I should pick that race and just build those air transports to win, because apparently they're amazing. Takes like Tech 3 SAM sites and Tech 3, interceptors to fucking kill them. So one of my favorite things about Total Annihilation compared to Supreme Commander is all the projectiles in Total Annihilation have real physics behind them, which is really cool. I really like that. Like parabolic trajectories of shells. There's not any of these like laser. I mean, there are a couple lasers, but even they have trajectories in Total Annihilation. In this one, Supreme Commander, there's a lot of weapons that just shoot direct line of fire, kind of like instantly, and they don't really have the physics. You would see what I mean. Like with artilleries and stuff, they shoot a parabolic arc. And that's what most of the units do in that game too, unless they shoot missiles. But even the missiles are alright in this, but I kind of don't like how there's so many energy-based weapons that just kind of shoot straight and not parabolic. It's kind of fun to have all the parabolic artillery shells flying, because like if they miss something, they can hit an enemy behind them. And that's something that can't happen with the more direct weapons. But anyway, that's just a very minor gripe. My battleships shooting at their metal extractor. See, those smoky trails are the grenades, those chain gun bots. Chain gun mechs there. They normally shoot their chain gun shot, but once in a while they'll shoot out some grenades. And you can just barely see like a little smoky trail come from them. It seems like they, I don't know, more shoot them at buildings, but it seems like they can shoot them at units too sometimes. I'm not sure. Oh, my gunship got wrecked right there. Yeah, one of the mods I installed is called Fiery Explosions, and it makes the explosions look better. So that's kind of cool. I'm really glad I found the mods for this because I really didn't like playing this game before I found them. The thing I really didn't like the most was the resource system. It was very different from Total Annihilation. And it just wasn't as... I don't know, it's hard to describe. It was just... The metal was sort of alright, but the energy generation was just like really easy, I guess. And one of the mods I put in does some resource rebalancing, and I think it made the game much better, much more fun to play. It makes the metal extractors use a lot more energy to run, so you're forced to build more power generators. You can't just go around capping all the metal extractors by themselves. You kind of have to like build a power generator or two after every couple metal extractors, or else you get going into negative energy. And the mod also boosts the like the collaboration. Like if you build power generators next to factories or metal extractors, it makes them more efficient and use less energy, which is pretty cool. The original game did that, but this does it more, and it adds like faster building to factories, not just efficiency. So I've tasked this single bot down here, K-bot I guess, is what they're called in Total Annihilation, with taking out that T3 metal extractor, which makes a big difference. T3 metal extractors are like, they'll keep a T3 factory going, so basically if you take down one of those T3 metal extractors, that's one more Tech 3 factory that isn't going to be producing units, or at least producing them a lot slower. So I finally pushed forward basically to his base after, what has it been, almost an hour? 20, 40, no, it's been an hour, yeah. Well, no, it's been 45, 50 minutes. You can see he's got some Navy stuff coming on the map. Yeah, his base has a lot of defense turrets, so I'm keeping my units just out of range. So if I moved them forward, they would just die. So I'm just sitting outside the range, and as his units come forward, I'm just killing them. So yeah, it's pretty neat how you don't need many units to take on a lot of units if they're a higher tech level. Here's that damn air transport again. Oh my god. When you see all those lines across the screen, that's when I'm holding down Shift, and it's just showing the build order that I have queued up. And the faded lines are like units that I don't have selected, but it shows their, not only the build order, but their command path. Like, if I told them to patrol, it'll show where I'm patrolling them. I usually put most of my units on patrol, just so they're not sitting there doing nothing. They kind of keep like a set area occupied and cleared out, and patrol it back and forth. Usually like from my base to the front line, I'll set a patrol path so that everything in between you know, stays secure. So I didn't notice this before, but in the top right you can see we're at 181 out of 1,000 units. So you can make up to 1,000 units in this, and you can increase that limit, I'm pretty sure. That's one of the one of the features that I like that StarCraft doesn't have. I kind of wish it did have. You know, you only have, what is it, 250 food in StarCraft, and some units cost more than one food. So, you know, if you watch pro games and you see, like, their maxed out army, it's just, like, it's not that big. It's, you know, a cluster of units that's, I don't know, 2 or 3 inches in size on the screen across. So, it's just, yeah, I mean, it's like an army, but it's not that big, really. Like, all those red units on the left there, that would be like a maxed out army in StarCraft. But in this, man, you can make a really big army. Have like epic sized battles on huge maps with tons of units, and that's something I really like about this. Something I always thought about is that, like, I love the style of StarCraft, like I love the theme of it, it's really cool, but I like a lot of the features of this game, and I always thought it'd be neat to combine the style of StarCraft with the feature set of Supreme Commander Total Annihilation. You'd have like the best RTS ever made, because, you know, I love both of them. I love StarCraft, I love Supreme Commander, I love Total Annihilation, but for different reasons. The other thing about StarCraft is it's so artificial how they create these base areas that are all walled in with their mineral patch, and then you go to your next base area, like they're like designated base zones, and it seems kind of stifling to me to creativity and like exploration, whereas in this you just have a gigantic open world that you can just build anywhere, and you want to go for the resource nodes, obviously, but you don't have to, like, I don't know, like once you build your base in StarCraft, all you have is this one little ramp that units can get up, and you can like block it off or put sentries there, and it's pretty trivial. Whereas in this, if you want to guard a base, it's like you have to, the whole thing has to be guarded around air, sea, and all 360 degrees land around it. You don't just have a tiny little ramp to defend. Anyway, that's why I always say StarCraft is like a tactical game, and this is more of a strategy game. A tactic, you know, people have different definitions or whatever, but I'm queuing up a build order for my new aircraft plane up there. But generally, a tactic is a smaller scale strategy, from what I understand. A tactic is like a specific strategy for a specific map or place and set of units. It's like a plan you come up with for a specific situation, whereas, you know, strategy is like an overall way of playing. So, like, this is a real-time strategy game. I say StarCraft is like a real-time tactics game. Like, if you guys have ever played Commandos behind enemy lines, that's a super old game, but you only have a few units, but you have to be like super good with them and really careful and have like super good micro. That's more like what StarCraft is like, so it's more tactical for sure. Whereas in this, it's like you have to have your whole large-scale everything going. And, like, the micro doesn't matter as much as scaling up and building everywhere and having tons of units coming out, and your overall strategy is what's more important in this. Okay, so my experimental unit is finally done. It's walking down like a boss. I don't think I've ever built one before. I haven't done too much with the experimental units in this game just because they take forever to build. And anyway, he's walking down now, so we're going to see what kind of damage he can do. Wow, did you see that airplane just get shot down right on top of my ship? Look at that. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9 interceptors were just shooting at that one shielded Tech 3 gunship. Because he's still building Tech 1. Which, like, you know, Tech 1's never going to do much against a Tech 3. Yeah, I also installed some unit balancing stuff, mods, and I think it made the game a lot more fun to play. It did some kind of, I forget exactly, but some kind of realism stuff where the anti-air doesn't shoot as far and artillery doesn't shoot as far, and it kind of forces you to use units more. And it balances some of the unit ranges and rate of fire and damage and stuff. And it's great now against this more difficult AI that I installed, and the unit balance and the energy resource balance tweaks, mods, all those mods, plus the fire explosions and everything. Like I really like it a lot more than the normal game now. It's very much more fun, much more even and more challenging maps against the computer. Like I said in the earlier video, if I made the bigger the map that I play, the harder it is. Oh, here comes the experimental unit. The bigger the map that I play, the more difficult it is for me against the computer, because the computer can scale up on a bigger map, and it's not any more difficult for it. But obviously, as a person, as a human, the more area you have to control and the more units you have to keep track of, the more, difficult it is, the more your division gets split between more things, your attention. So I played a smaller map against this hard AI, and it took a couple tries, but then I beat him. And so I'm like, okay, so I'm going to move up to a medium-sized map, and that's what this is. And, it took me a few tries to beat him again to learn how to do that. This round, see, the last one, I think I went mainly ground units, and then this time I decided to focus heavily on air. Look at all those enemy interceptors, holy crap. And even focusing heavily on air, see, I've got like one land factory, then all the rest are air factories. Because it's good to have some ground units just to keep, control of the ground. But if you don't have control of the air, your ground units are almost useless. So yeah, my strategy this time was just to go heavy into air, and it ended up working out for me this time. Oh look, here's my experimental unit. Oh yeah, coming in like a boss, shooting long-range missiles. I have no idea what he can do, because I'm not familiar with him, but see all those rings around him? Those are the ranges of various weapons and radar systems. I don't know what they all are. I think the red ring might be... He's got so many guns, it's hard to say which one is which, but for the rings, but he's got missiles, he's got lasers, he's got like flamethrowers, he's got anti-air missiles and like air-to-ground missiles, or ground-to-ground, I guess. And he's got like flamethrowers and, I don't know, grenades or something. You'll see. All sorts of cool stuff.